Well, there you have it. South Africa clinching the series 2-0, taking an unassailable lead and doing it in a familiar fashion, some would say, because this is the third time on this tour that they've chased successfully and done it by 7 wickets. There's something about it. We have, of course, JP Duminy joining us right now in terms of reviewing this second one-day international. JP, comprehensive win, if nothing else.
Yeah, it seems to be the magic number, isn't it? 7 wickets. And it's certainly been a confidence booster, not only for the team, but I think for all supporters. It was interesting listening to Temba Bavuma talk about how he's hoping that this performance will inspire particularly the local people of South Africa and the fans to really get behind the team again. Obviously, there's lots going on off the field. And to be honest, it almost looks like that has inspired the team to come closer and tighter together to make sure that they put in, those big performances, playing for one another, believing in one another. So that's been an inspiration, and long may it continue. It's been awesome.
It's been fantastic viewing from a South African point of view. In fact, it's the highest ODI chase since 2017 for the Proteas, so kudos to them. Now, India won the toss and they did what South Africa did to large periods that time in the first ODI and then compared to the second ODI. Where did India kind of slip it? I mean, was it that 178 for 2 to 183 for 4 slump? Do you think they kind of went short there?
Yeah, and it probably was one of the main contributing factors, and you almost heard that to be one of the main things that particularly the Indian team would have acknowledged as something they need to be a little bit more clinical on, building partnerships. And, when you're playing on surfaces such as PAL, which is potentially similar to subcontinent, you look at it from a perspective that there's always a potential to lose wickets in clumps. So that's why, partnerships become so crucial. And we've seen South Africa, particularly in the first ODI, now the second as well, do that really well. There's one massive partnership that really sets up the stall to make sure that you get a good score. And then you have these sort of ad hoc contributions down the order. Unfortunately, that's probably where India have come short on this occasion. I think I must add, in terms of comparison from the effectiveness of spinners, it's been surprising to see how well South Africa have adapted against the Indian spinners, doing so well and adapting their game and game plans, particularly being so successful square of the wicket. We saw a lot of sweeps and reverse sweeps being adopted. But from a South African bowling perspective, that's where we've seen a bit of a success story for them. And they will certainly take a lot of confidence out of it, that they can also deliver from a spinner's perspective. We all know, always been renowned from a seamer, seamers doing the job for and the business for South Africa. So they'll take a lot of confidence out of the spinning performance as well.
Yeah, you talk about the spinners, which was one of my questions, but given the fact that you've talked about them already, South Africa's opener simply shone bright. I mean, you spoke about it before the ODI series started, that Yaraman Malan's a quality player. We saw that come to the fore, and Quinton de Kock doing what Quinton de Kock does. Was that a pleasing aspect from not just the visual aesthetics part of it, but from a longer term approach? These two have kind of buckled in well.
Yeah, they certainly gelled nicely, and I think the standout has been the fact of understanding the flow of each other's innings. And that's where we talk about partnerships being so key. It's understanding the flow. Who's really being the aggressor at any given time, understanding the bowlers that you are facing and who's going to be the aggressor against them. Where do the percentages lie, particularly in a left-right combination of being as effective as you want to be in a partnership? And this is something that I think they will grow in stature with, grow in confidence with, in understanding each other's games. Essentially, they're actually very similar in the style of play. They're quite aggressive in their nature, but, like I said, understanding the gears that you go through in supporting one another when somebody is maybe not feeling it or feeling it and feeling like this is a time where they can pounce. That's where the communication and the conversation between the two of them will be effective. And we've seen the fruits of it now on a few occasions. So they've certainly found a really gem of a partnership to start the innings for South Africa.
Yeah, and like all the other successful opening pairs, they complement each other well. So hope that really lasts long from South Africa perspective. Right, let's talk about India next. But before that, had to ask you about Sisala Magala because he, at the end of the day, didn't have the best of days out there, but we still saw the makings of why he's been picked for the national side.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of working a little bit with him, with the Lions over the last couple of months, and he's definitely a type of character that kind of molds the look and feel of what South Africa is after. I spoke about him being really crucial at the death, the ability to have change-ups. And yes, making his debut, going at 8 and over, we look at that, not his best. But I think you got to look through that and see what is the skill composition there that can really add value to the South African team. And I think it's really there, particularly on a wicket such as the one that they just played on, where he's sort of low in his action and can be quite skiddy. And I mentioned the change-ups which can be quite effective on a surface such as that one. But I think there's a making of a real proteer. And again, you don't want to only look at what he's been successful with in terms of first class cricket, but you want to understand that you got to give him an opportunity to find his feet and understand that he's going to produce the goods in time to come with those opportunities.
Right, absolutely. I think someone's knocking JP's door there, but we let that slip. It's all right.
I think it's my daughter.
I mean, that's cuteness to the show. But having said that, let's talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar because look, 8 overs, none for 67. It doesn't look pretty for any bowler. He was pretty toothless out there, kind of summing up how the Indian attack have been in this ODI series so far. Do you think they could bring in someone like Prasidh Krishna who can bowl in excess of 135? Apart from Bumrah, India don't have that.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see a few changes come in for the third and final ODI. And not just in terms of the optics of what it's looked like from the first two ODIs. I think, this is, again, having a visionary sort of mindset of, okay, what are we trying to find and look for the next few months leading up to the World Cup? So, yes, we understand and know what, a Bhuvi Kumar can produce. And maybe, the conditions didn't necessarily suit him. Yes, he has good change-ups, but if you think about him with a new ball, you always think about a swinging ball, and that's where he's been as effective as we've seen over the years. So yes, there's a great opportunity now to look at a few youngsters coming through and trying and looking with one eye on a World Cup and seeing what can we bring out of that. But again, you don't just want to judge somebody on a day. You want to understand that he's produced for India over a period of time. And yes, you got to criticize and kind of have a hard look at certain players. And he will certainly go back and look at himself in the mirror and know that he needs to improve. But he's certainly not going to write off a Bhuvi Kumar because he's a class act.
Absolutely. Just a final one from me in terms of reviewing this second one day because there's plenty to get through to you with this third one international, which is pretty much a consolation thing now for India. What on Rishabh Pant? Because look, great innings. People will look at it and be like, he really took South African, the South African attack, I should say, to the cleaners. But then a rash moment, I'm guessing, when the game was kind of critical for them to kind of take that initiative and go 320, 330. Pant made a mistake there, you feel?
But that, yes, we can look at it and kind of break that down and say that's a mistake. Yes. I think we would have that view with the natural eye because, we're kind of reading the game as we would see it. And you think about the character of Rishabh Pant, who's very unorthodox in his methods and in his thinking. And in many ways, I think, the cricketing fraternity around the world has appreciated that about Rishabh Pant. So when it doesn't come off, there's always going to be these question marks. But when things really go well, and it looks flamboyant and just like he's taking the attack to the opposition and it comes off, then there's a lot of praise. I think we got to take the good with the bad when it comes to a player such as Rishabh Pant. We have spoken over the course of the couple of weeks. We've been speaking about this term X Factor, and he's certainly one of those players. Once again, he brings something unique to the game that I think many people love watching. And it's I guess it's almost live by the sword, die by the sword kind of scenario with him. That that he's going to win you games from time to time, but also there's going to be some average or mediocre optics when it comes to the way he gets out, or times in the game. So yeah, I think we just got to accept the type of player that he is, and know that there's going to be some real good, but also some challenges along the way in trying to understand how do I get the best out of Rishabh Pant, but also give him the percentages that allows him to produce the goods.
I think as a cricketer as well, you look at certain days as learnings. Every day is a school day, they say. And I think Rishabh Pant will definitely look at this dismissal of it. Maybe he could have gone on to greater heights in terms of runs in this one, but wasn't to be. And Shamsi was absolutely delighted with his wicket as well after being tonked all over the park. Right, that's all we have in the second review. Third, one international preview, of course, which is on Sunday from Cape Town. It could have been a spectacular showdown, wasn't to be, because South Africa was simply sensational. JP, thanks for your time. We'll catch you in the third one, the international preview.
Thanks, buddy.